Hiya, I've been asked to do a tutorial on how to wear a Lengha Saree. So that's a proper Lengha Saree, not like the one I showed you with the purple one, which is a pull-on skirt. This is an actual one-piece, one long length of material Lengha Saree. So it's a proper Lengha Saree. The benefits of wearing a Lengha Saree is that you don't look as fat. As you can see, I look quite slim. The piece at the bottom actually looks like a skirt. It's really lightweight to wear, and if you have trouble doing those folds here at the front, then this is ideal. This saree here was given to my sister by her in-laws for her engagement. I just think it's an absolutely stunning, stunning saree. The minute I laid my eyes on it, I knew I was going to nick it off her to wear one day. I made sure she wore it first, but I've got my hands on it now. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I love it. She struggled to wear this. She didn't really know how to wear it, and we wanted to put it on for her so that it goes over her left shoulder. I'll do another tutorial on that one, but for now I've done it this way. This I found was really easy to do. It took me just minutes. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you start is make sure your heating's on, because on a cold day like this it's freezing. I've got the blouse on. It might look a little loose, you might notice it a bit later on. That's because this is my sister's blouse, and I've borrowed this saree from her. But because it's got the strings, it's not going to make too much of a difference in terms of it's going to stay, the saree's going to stay up on the shoulder. It's not going to fall down off my shoulder, despite the fact that my sister's a bit more broad-shouldered than me. The only thing that's really noticeable is the arms. There's a big gap in there and it should be tight. Not too tight, I don't like it overly tight like some people do, but I don't want it, it shouldn't have that gap here either. That looks a bit weird. Yeah, and my sister's a bit bigger chested than me, so I'm showing a bit too much cleavage. Make sure that your petticoat is tied tight. And somebody asked me on my last video whether where the petticoat should fall. It should fall just at the belly button or below. Because I'm shorter, I have it slightly higher, only because otherwise I have too much material to fold in, but ideally this is where it should be. And I've got my shoes on if I didn't mention that before. And always remember to iron your saree before you put it on, and it also helps to have your safety pins handy and open and ready. Okay, so this beautiful saree is a Lengha saree, as I said before. It's got a piece, the inner part, that's got no design on it at all. And then it's got the bit that you tuck in. Now you can see that there's this green piece up top. That's the bit that tucks into the tummy. And what I'm going to do is tie this tightly around me like a Lengha. So I'm just at the moment placing it to see where the design's going to fall. Looking at the design, you've got this red, starting off from my left is red, green, orange, red, green, orange, red, green, orange. There isn't sort of any, I don't know, what would you say is the middle to this saree? I can't see it all in the mirror. I think that green piece there is the middle. So I would place that at my navel and straight down, and then hold this really tight to my belly. But what I also want to do is make sure this is on the floor and just ever so slightly dragging on the floor. So if you look at the bottom, I don't want it higher so that my toes peep out of it. I don't want it touching the floor exactly. I just want it to rest and drag on the floor just a teeny little bit. And that is despite the fact that I've got my shoes on. It just gives a really nice finish to this, a Lengha look to this saree. So I'm going to tuck it in there. It doesn't matter if I get some of the embroidery in at the waist either. It doesn't matter if you get it a little bit higher, you can always pull it out a little bit. It's not as bad as a normal saree. When you start pulling out, the thing starts unravelling. So I'm just tucking that all in around my waist. But as I get to the back, what I really want to do now is pull this really tight so that I achieve a really flat finish to my stomach, and it pulls nicely around the sides to show off the fact that I have a big bum. It just gives the illusion of it being a skirt. Okay, so when you get to the front, you're going to have this piece here, which is part of the sari underneath. So I'm just going to pull this away for a second. I've placed it anyway, so I know where I want all that to be and where I want the design to fall. But I just want to tuck this piece here out of the way. It doesn't matter how roughly you tuck in, it's just going to be hidden. And then pull this back round tightly again, making sure that you pull it nice and firmly around the hips. So that I get that lengha, almost fishtail effect where it's tapered. So slim and pencil like at the top to make me appear slimmer looking, and flared out at the bottom like an A-line skirt. There you go. So the rest of the sari now should be in your right hand and to the right of you. And this start is really good if you want to look, you know, if you find you look bigger in a normal sari, then a Lengha sari like this is going to be ideal for you, especially if you're the bride. And I think this one's quite ornate as well. Just adjust it. If you feel like the panel's gone one way because you've been pulling it, you can always just twist it around your waist a little bit and move along. And taking the sari in your right hand, make sure it's the top part. You don't want to pick up the wrong side of it. And just run it along your hands. With the front part facing towards you, you want to pick up that corner and fold everything on top of it. The folds are about I would say 5 inches wide. You can make them smaller or bigger, but you know, that will be really determined by the amount of material you've got, but they should just be exact. And then bring the pleats out in front of you so you can see them in the mirror, and just pick them up. I don't know, it will depend where you pick up at this point on how tall you are. I kind of know my measurement and where I want it to fall. You want it to kind of just fall so that it shows the sari off, the skirt rather, but not so that it covers it. But then you've got to think about how much material you've got here. If you just have a small little drop here, then you're going to have too much of a drop at the back and you might step over it. So you really want to just kind of play with it first and see where it's going to fall before you actually just do this on the actual day you want to wear it. But what you then do is where you've decided you want to pinch it in, hold the pleats there, put them over your shoulder, put your arm through. That's a really bad explanation, I'll do it again. So where you've pinched in the pleats, you want to then just bring that to the front of your shoulder and then put your arm through there and put the rest of it over your shoulder. And I kind of like my drop to be about here, which if my knee is here, this is just well above my knee. So where I've bent in my leg there, you can see that that's a pretty good place. I could actually have it a little bit less, but then my drop here, I couldn't go any further with this drop. I'll show you. If I bring this up any higher, you can see this now dragging on the floor, and I'm going to step on it. I'm at risk. I've stepped on it. But bringing it shorter here will just mean that you show off this main part, the skirt part, better. But I'm going to have it falling about here, I think. So I'm going to pin that into my shoulder. I'm going to hide the pin inside my blouse and poke that through the top of the sari, on top of the pleats, and then back through and fasten that under so that the pin is completely hidden. and I'm using a nappy pin to do that. Now if you have a really nice ornate jolly blouse and it's not so out there like mine is, then you could just wear it like this and get away with it. But because you know I couldn't do that anyway. I like to bring mine over, so I could either bring it to the front and have my sari set up like this, which is very Gujarati style, or I could fold over and make it look a bit more bridal style. Either style looks absolutely beautiful, but being Gujarati myself, I'm going to set it so that it falls over. I like to lean forward just so that the folds are pretty neat, and then take that material back around, pull it across. Now if I pull it and pin it here, I kind of cover this panel here, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to just bring it around my bust. You don't want to bring it all the way under the armpit, but just enough to cover what you are naturally blessed with. Enough to keep your mum happy. And then just tie it up around here. When I mean tie it, I mean safety pin it. And I've stabbed myself. But that's fine, that's all tied in. And if you find that this bit moves around too much here, this bit gets too floppy, you can lean forward again, get your hands in under, so this hand here under. Hold the material in place where it falls naturally, and then stick a pin in just under this top pleat so that it's hidden. So fold the top pleat back and just hide a pin in under there. Depends on how sheer your sari is. If it's sheer, you might see the pin, you might want to do that from underneath. But I'm going to do it from the top on this sari because it's got a nice border, it kind of covers it. Now you won't find it flops too much this way, and you do still want a bit of movement around here. You don't want it to be completely flat. If you do like that completely flat look, then grab, I don't know, you just fold your hand down over the pleat. You don't want them all together, you do want to fan out the pleats. And then you just want to grab it where it falls and just stick a pin through the top layer without actually going through the actual top pleat. So you kind of want to just miss one and do it from underneath so that it's not seen. And that will keep them all together. Still give it movement because I'm not putting it to my main skirt, but at least it's not flopping about and it's the weight is keeping them all together in one place. And then you just want to check that the back is falling fine, which it is. If you get any of these inner parts of this fold here that's underneath this come out too much, you could safety pin it together, but I prefer not to safety pin. And that's the Lengha Saree. That looks like a Lengha. If you have this bit here that comes out, just pick up any material that you feel just needs a little bit of tidying up, and just tuck that in a little to the skirt so that whatever falls underneath actually falls underneath under this part here. And then just to neaten it off a little bit. Just as useful to you, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye!